So if you're suffering from hair loss at the back of the head, the so-called crown or vertex area, I have great news for you. This type of hair loss is by far the easiest to reverse. Now, compared to other types of hair loss, for example, at the front or the top of the head, you can expect to see vastly better regrowth. And if you stack your treatments accordingly, complete regrowth is a realistic possibility. I'll get back to that shortly. Now, because hair loss in the crown is so easy to reverse, pharmaceutical companies are generally quick to test their products on patients that have exactly this kind of hair loss. This was the case, for example, with the drug trials that led to the FDA approval of minoxidil back in the 1980s. These were conducted with men that had hair loss in the crown, and the FDA only ever approved minoxidil for hair loss in the crown. It was a similar story for finasteride. The research group that led the finasteride studies back in the day only recruited men with hair loss in the crown, whether or not the front area was also involved. And of course, this is understandable why these pharmaceutical companies did that, because hair loss in the crown, as we said, is the easiest to treat. So had they actually selected men with frontal hair loss, it's very likely the results would have been different, and there's a possibility the drugs would have never been approved. Now, the obvious question is why? What is it about the crown that makes it so amenable to treatment compared to other areas? Now, we know, for example, that the crown has a slightly higher density compared to other areas of the head, but the difference is small. It doesn't seem likely that this is the crucial factor. Rather, the important factor appears to be the speed at which the crown goes bald. Compared to the top in the frontal area of the head, the crown goes bald at a much slower pace. For example, if you look at hair loss in the temples, this can happen so fast that you literally don't even notice. You just wake up one day, you look in the mirror, and where there was hair in the temple, now there's nothing, to just smooth, shiny skin. The crown doesn't go bald at anything like that speed. It's a very slow process, and it can take years or even decades for it to go completely bald. This means that it gives you plenty of time to catch the process before it's been completed. Now, why is this important? It's very likely that it has to do with the changes that happen outside of the hair follicles, the so-called intrafollicular space. You see, after a part of the scalp has gone completely bald, the changes don't stop there. Even after all the hairs have gone, the changes will continue in the space between the hair follicles. What's going to happen is you're going to get an accumulation of collagen in the space between the hair follicles. And this collagen will just keep on accumulating, and in the end it will stiffen up, harden up, and then it becomes microscopic scar tissue. And once you get at that point, it's very difficult, almost impossible, to reverse the hair loss, because not only have the follicles miniaturized, but also the space between them, the environment that surrounds them, has completely changed. And because baldness in the crown is a much slower, drawn-out process, you're more likely to catch it before these changes have crystallized and become irreversible. So this raises another question. Why does the crown go bald at such a slower rate? Now, this is something that mainstream hair loss researchers don't generally bother to check, but the answer may very well hold the solution to solving the hair loss puzzle. An interesting possibility is that this has to do with the degree of mechanical stress or chronic tension that the various parts of the scalp experience. Due to the configuration of the muscles surrounding the scalp, this tension is slightly higher at the top and front of the head compared to the vertex. This higher tension, in turn, can increase the production of a signaling protein called transforming growth factor beta 1. Now, what this signaling protein does is it increases the production of collagen and other extracellular material. In other words, it contributes to the buildup of fibrosis. This chronic tension also, it limits the supply of blood to the scalp, and this basically starves the follicles of oxygen and other nutrients that they need to grow. Now, relieving this chronic tension through things like Botox injections, scalp massages, or the grow band restores the blood supply and allows the follicles to once again regrow, with or without minoxidil or finasteride. And the grow band is the easiest and most effective way to achieve this. Especially for guys with a balding crown, it's an excellent option. It pushes up directly on the affected area, relieving the tension like no other treatment can. So combining conventional treatments like minoxidil or finasteride with the grow band is the ultimate routine. You relieve the chronic tension with the grow band, you block the DHT with the finasteride, and you encourage the follicles to regrowth with the minoxidil. So if you have a thinning crown, or if a thinning crown runs in your family, then now is the time to start treatment with the Groban, which is only available at hairguard.com. So head over to hairguard.com and get started today. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a like and a subscribe, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Goodbye.